Hello and welcome. We're taking a quick little break from our Origins videos. The last we left off, we were on October of 2020. We had just finished that. But I wanted to take this little break right now to kind of talk about a dream that I had last night. That was just the most amazing dream. I was on some kind of, I don't know whether it was a work trip or some kind of educational trip or something. I was at an aquarium of some type somewhere. I've never seen it before in my real life, but in the dream, I was walking along a corridor with somebody. We were getting ready to go to one of the exhibits, I guess, and on the picture diorama, there was like some pictures of fish and stuff like that. And the person I was walking with said, "Oh God, the shark!" And there was, on this picture, there was this huge, like really, really long shark. Not necessarily big, as in like wide, but like really long. So I'm like, "Oh wow!" And then we turn the corner, and I see outside this super long, huge shark, but it's laying on its back. And there's a bunch of guys around it, and at first it looked like they were like rubbing its belly, like to tickle it. But then as we were kept walking along, I noticed that there was like some bumps, and they were actually putting a salve of some kind on its belly. I guess it had some sores or something, maybe from like scraping the bottom or something. I don't know what was going on, but they were putting some kind of salve. So I was telling the person, "Oh no, they're not tickling it or rubbing its belly. They're putting a salve on it. See, it's turning its belly white." And then they turned it over. There was about four, or probably about four men. There was tons of men all on top of it when they rolled it back over, and it was like four across. That's how wide and huge this shark was. I mean, it was longer than, super long and super wide than any shark I've ever seen before. But there was like four across in its front, and then all the way back down to its fin to kind of keep it in place. I guess it was like still awake or something. And then I noticed they started kind of like lightly pressing down on it, and I think what they were trying to do is see if it was the sores or whatever was on its belly was still hurting it after what they'd done with the salve and stuff. And I guess they pressed it against the bottom, and the shark obviously was hurt, so it like it kind of jerked up, and then it slowly started moving back and forth around, and there was some of the guys on it were like just trying to hold on to it, and I'm thinking that's pretty bold of them to try to like do all this stuff on an awake shark. And there was a guy on its very left who was holding like some kind of microphone, sitting on it, on the shark, and the shark moved like to the left, and he almost like fell into its mouth, and it had its mouth open. So then he like got back up, and I'm like, God, that shark is like fully awake. There's gonna be some damages there. It's gonna start, because then it realized, I guess, that there was people like right by its mouth, so it was like kind of not really snapping, but like moving its mouth open and closed to try to get some of the people closer to its mouth. And I'm like, God, this is crazy. I've like never seen anything like this before. And then all of a sudden, it just started sinking down. And I guess the water was suddenly like just deep at that point, and all the guys were still on top of it, and it sank down, and I didn't think anything too much of it shortly after that. But then all of a sudden I was just kind of looking at the water, and then all of a sudden it came shooting straight up, like up at least like a couple stories out of the water, and then came crashing back down, like just to the right, off to the right, where there was some slight short little hallway with some classrooms and stuff. and came crashing down through that building and then back down a couple stories down below us. I'm like, whoa. And I turned to the person next to me. I was like, well, it's a good thing I didn't go to class because that class is gone. But then I was looking down, and down the little hole it had just created, and of course there were several classrooms destroyed and stuff. And I got to thinking, God, you know, all those guys, they're probably dead. And I turned to the person that I was walking with previously, and I was like, you know, in thinking, like, if they survived however deep that shark went to get that much momentum to come shooting up that way, the pressure of the water and stuff, and then hitting the water when they came back up without getting any broken bones and stuff, and then the crash down, because when the shark crashed back down into the building, he turned over so that his back would be hitting the buildings and stuff. So I'm like, there's probably none of those guys that survived any of that. So that's pretty much the dream, and that was like too much to type out, but I'm just like, wow, it was so vivid and so real. It was just, I don't know where it came from, because I wasn't watching anything for sharks before I went to bed last night. I wasn't doing anything with the sharks on the videos I was posting yesterday throughout the day. So it was just a shark dream. It was so vivid and amazing. So I just wanted to share that with everybody, because I thought it was just such an interesting dream, although tragic for the people that didn't make it. Apparently, none of these people I've ever seen before in my real life, but you know, dreams are funny that way. So I wanted to share that with everybody. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Ta-ta. Bye-bye.